LaMelo Ball hits a game winner, and the Charlotte Hornets, they beat the Milwaukee Bucks again. We talk about it today on the Locked On Hornets podcast.
You are Locked On Hornets, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
In a minute, cuz we live.
All right, the usual open, we're just going to have to set to the side for a little bit. I'm not going through that, man. I'm not going to go through the script, the normal script that is on the Locked On Hornets podcast. Let's acknowledge the elephant or the bee in the room and discuss both of us actually wearing these bee suits because somebody, I don't know who yet, but somebody put us up to this bee suit costume to the point where if we got 500 subscribers on YouTube, then we would have to wear these ridiculous things. And so if you are still listening anywhere you get your podcast and only the audible medium, then you cannot see us absolutely embarrass ourselves. And I got to tell you, like, we can play this up all we want to, but I was looking at myself in the mirror. I tried to care about this, Doug. Like, I shaved for this just to make sure I didn't look even more ridiculous than I already was going to.
Fuzzy bee.
And then I put the bee suit on, and then I turned the camera on, and I'm like, goodness gracious, other people are going to see me like this. You can too. If you go to YouTube, type in Locked On Hornets, subscribe. We do appreciate everybody for doing this. And as a reward for everybody subscribing to our YouTube channel, that helps us out. It helps you out. It helps us give you better content. We're going to reward you with embarrassing ourselves. And you can take pictures if you want. I'm sure they're going to be screen grabs. And we're just going to have to live with this for the rest of our lives, Doug Branson.
What I realized as I dressed up for this is that there are really zero stakes for me. You are actually a public figure, broadcaster in Charlotte. So, but I want you to keep in mind, Walker, that really we need to lay the blame on the people that subscribed on YouTube because we said, hey, you subscribe to us on YouTube, we dress in bee costumes. So I want you to keep that in mind as I admit to you that, I was the one that came up with this idea.
Of course you
are. It
like,
wasn't a mysterious producer. It was me.
Yeah, shocker.
And it worked.
Yeah.
We got 500 subscribers. It worked.
Yeah, I want people to understand that even behind the scenes, Doug Branson tried to sell to me as much as possible that it was not him, that it was somebody in the higher ups of the Locked On Podcast Network. And then I thought maybe Chicago, Locked On Bulls podcast, might dress up as Benny. I thought maybe you would have something else going on. I thought this was going to be a site-wide thing, and instead we are the ones. I mean, look, I can't get this hat right. Like, I tried to mess with it the best I could.
You look like a Viking. You look like a Viking bee with the hat on.
I mean, I tried to squiggle the antennas a little bit to make sure that they look more bee-like. It was a field goal. It looked like you wanted to kick something through the uprights on these antennas. And now my head is weirdly shapen and it doesn't fit. This is what here. You want to see my stinger real quick? Here we go.
I mean, buy me dinner first, but.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Don't get stung, baby. Stangin'. We're stangin' out here.
Stangin'.
Both of us. Stangin'.
Hey, before we get to the Milwaukee, the walkie-talkie, we got plenty of walkie-talkie to do on this show. Huge game, huge win. LaMelo, not buzzer beater, but game winner. Love it. Okay, one more thing to say about these bee costumes. And I want to say it to some of the other podcasts out there, some of the other Hornets podcasts. You may be able to do the stats. You may be able to do the analysis.
Actually give good information. That's all fine.
Yeah,
That's
correct.
Fine.
Yeah, right. Correct information. But can you I can do a stat. I can do a stat all day. I'll give you a stat right now. 72.4%. Boom. Gave you a stat. But can you do this? I don't think so.
Nobody can pull this off. Like Dove. Right. Like Dove. I was going to Doug B. Ranson, and I said Dove. I went with a different animal. Get me out of here. All right, let's talk about the Milwaukee Bucks. We're going to try to talk seriously about this while I look with you and antennas and on my head and on your head. Man, what an awesome game to talk about, though. We get a repeat. The Milwaukee Bucks, they go down in the Spectrum Center again to the Charlotte Hornets. LaMelo, not a very good offensive first half, at least from hitting the field goal type thing. Then the second half, boom, shows up big time. How about the floater? And what I love about LaMelo hitting that type of shot, Doug, not only is it the go-ahead, not only for the obvious reasons, but LaMelo so often in the last year and a half of NBA basketball, gotten so much better at being decisive once he got in the paint. There was always at the beginning of his maturation process, he'd get into the paint and then he wouldn't know exactly what to do and try to force a pass at the last second. It would lead to a turnover. But even then, he was trying to hit Terry Rozier in the corner. The pass wasn't there. And so he's like, well, I'm about to travel. If I bring this basketball down with me, we're going to float it up, floating to his left, which is really hard, nails it. And LaMelo hits a very LaMelo-esque type of game winner to beat the defending champs for the second time in 3 days. Awesome shot. We'll start there from their superstar player, and then we'll get into the later on P.J. Washington defense, Miles Bridges physicality, Terry Rozier hitting buckets. But LaMelo, Doug, impressive second half and an impressive shot.
We've seen LaMelo do a lot of crazy things over his 1+ seasons in Charlotte. Insane mind-bending, physics-breaking passes. He's had takeover quarters. He's had 30+ point scoring games. He's done a lot so far, but the one thing that we really hadn't seen him do is hit a crunch time bucket. And a lot of that is because Terry Rozier is so good at doing that the team often depends on him to take those kind of shots. But what you saw last night is the future of this franchise. LaMelo Ball is capable of living in that moment, and he's capable of delivering. And what you love to see is that opportunity came from Terry Rozier. Terry Rozier saying, here, young guy, you're the future of this franchise. Take over. Let's see what you can do. Cleared everybody out. And LaMelo delivered a tough shot. Wesley Matthews quoted after the game saying, that's an incredibly tough shot to hit. And, but that's, LaMelo's the kind of player that can hit that shot. So I'm just floored. LaMelo keeps coming over the top with what we think he can do, what's possible. And if you're a Hornets fan, you cannot be more excited than you were after last night.
Well, a couple of things with LaMelo, and I continue to talk about the half-court offense where he's able to break the defense down, kind of get to his moves. He's been able to get into the paint. I don't want to say with ease. I mean, it makes it act like it's not very hard, but he's able to do it consistently and then hit those floaters, able to get to the rim a little bit better. And the other impressive thing about this, it's the fact that it all kind of took place in the second half for LaMelo. Like, it wasn't good for him in the first 2 quarters. And then, boom, he turns it on like all-stars, like superstars can, against a Milwaukee Bucks team that had Giannis, that had Chris Middleton. You don't have Drew Holiday, and that certainly makes life exponentially better because he is one of the better on-ball defenders in the game, and for sure that's going to be easier. Still, LaMelo was able to do that in the second half, and he didn't come up with a goose egg after what was such an important game the night before, right? And I kind of think that speaks to a lot of the other Charlotte Hornets. You can have that letdown contest. Huge win, put all our resources into that. We'd be more than thrilled for the Hornets to just come out of this with a 1-1 record, splitting the meeting between the Milwaukee Bucks, despite it being at the Spectrum Center, despite them being without a couple of guys and a couple of depth pieces. But here they go 2-0, and the Hornets, they're able to put in even more resources. They're able to dig deep. They're able to find something to get 2 victories against that quality of a team, and I think that is something else that should be taken note of.
Yeah, and to me, this is a signal of what's to come in the second half of this season for the Charlotte Hornets. And that's why I say to any LaMelo Ball fan, if you're frustrated by anything around LaMelo Ball and this team, I think it's going to change dramatically in the second half of this season and into whatever playoff run this Hornets team might find themselves in. I think it's going to be more and more depending on LaMelo Ball for offensive production, both with his passing ability, his transition opportunities, and his shooting as well. So just an incredible night. He beats Milwaukee with the pass in game 1, and in game 2, he beats them with the shot. This felt like a playoff kind of environment. And there's so much more to talk about from this game, from I think JB's coaching effort, P.J. Washington, Miles Bridges. So many different players had moments in this game. It was incredible.
I can't hear you, Doug. What'd you say? What was that? Let me try to get in. My antennas are tingling.
I need you to throw those stingers up in the air, buddy.
Yeah.
Let's get those antennas up.
We'll talk about who has the better antenna setup because ours are a little different. I'm going more so in the crazy direction. Yours are a little bit better suited. You're more organized.
Mine are built. Well, see, yours are built for comfort. Mine are built for speed. It's like the wind is blowing them back. I'm buzzing, baby. I'm stinging.
I'm like the lazy bee in the hive. You're the one that's been moving and working, and I'm the one that just got up out of bed.
I'm sweating in the hive right now. Under the lights, this costume is getting a little toasty.
To sweat in the hive makes it sound so much more nasty. No, man, I've got a lot of sweat going on in the hive. Anyways, let's kind of continue here and try to talk more about the Milwaukee Bucks victory. But first, not before I mentioned Bet Online. They'd like to wish you a happy new betting year as they continue the march to the playoffs and beyond. Bet Online remains the #1 spot for all the best sports wagering action for 2022. New year, a new updated desktop and mobile website to sign up today and receive your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. Just use the promo code LOCKEDON to get started. From football, basketball, hockey, boxing, UFC, right to your favorite Vegas casino games. You don't have to wait to take advantage of all the amazing offers available for 2022. BetOnline is the fastest and the easiest way to wager on all your favorite sports. BetOnline, where the game starts. Let's talk more about that game against the Milwaukee Bucks coming up next on the Locked On Hornets podcast.